Jack the vehicle up, put it on jack stands, we'll pull the tire off. Now having an impact is not necessary, but it's sure gonna make your life a whole lot easier. Now our upper ball joint nut, we're just gonna put a little lubricant on it, and we'll do that to the bottom as well. Now our upper ball joint is part of the control arm, so we'll get this because our control arm will be coming off. And we'll do that to the other side as well. All right. Before we get too far, we want to get our wheel speed sensor wiring out of the way. We can disconnect it from up here, and this should pop out of its little hole. I'm gonna get a screwdriver, pop it up. Having a pair of pliers like this can help. Then we can pop it out of this holder, just like that, okay? It can just dangle here, no big deal. Now we have our upper ball joint is an 18 millimeter, if it's still factory. Shouldn't be on there too tight. Torque is pretty low on that. Now I have a ratcheting wrench just to make it go faster. We got some more pickle fork action up top. There we go. So for our upper control arm, these are cam bolts. So the control arm can be pushed out or in depending on what the alignment needs. On this one, it still has this cap. That's perfect. It kind of locks it in place. So when we take it off, we put it back on. It can only go on in the place that it's in. There's a little key on it. If yours does not have this, what we want to do is just mark it. There's a little dowel on the frame. So we'll mark the dowel and then mark our cam and just make a little mark where they meet together. We'll do that on this side. We'll do that on the inside because there's one over there too. We'll line both of them up and then we'll go to the other side and do the exact same thing. Once you have it marked, we can go ahead and bust it loose, 21 millimeter. Let me reposition. And there's no room to get an impact on it. That would be the best, but. I think it's starting to get easier. Now any of this, if you're in a rust belt, having some kind of torch, oxygen, acetylene, heating all these bolts up would be beneficial. We don't have to worry about that too much here. Sometimes I use a torch. Nice. It's working them muscles. Then when we take off our little cam, just tap on it. This thing is putting up a fight. There we go. So when we set this down, we just want to make sure that this one goes on this side and not on the other side. So we'll set it down just under here below it so we know where it went. You can knock on this with a hammer. There we go. It's good enough here for now. Let's hop over to the other side. Over here we got 10 mil for our brake bracket. Pop this up and out. All right, same thing. Just do our best. This side's not as bad. Perfect. Tap on it. Just gonna use a little pry bar to get in here. Pop on it. We'll pop this off. Perfect. Okay, so let me show you. And we have to get these through bolts out, but because of these wings, so we have to turn the wings around so the fat part of the wing is facing in that direction. But it's still not quite enough. Our strut gets in the way, our springs. Now, if you're able to get it out without removing what I'm about to show you, great, go ahead and do it. Otherwise, what we'll have to do is come down here and remove that lower strut bolt, and then there's one just on the other side right there, that lower strut bolt. Those two come out, and our strut, the bottom can swing out. That'll give us a little more room for those. Otherwise, at least on this vehicle, there's not enough room because of our springs. So these lower strut bolts are 15 millimeter. Put this back up here. Hopefully that's not in your way now. We'll take a pry bar underneath. We'll push down on the control arm. And then we'll bring this strut forward. It doesn't have to come very far. There we go. Just enough. Now we can move it and manipulate it a little. Let's get a visual on the upper bolts. So I'm going to take a 7/8 and just turn this. so I can get that cam out of the way. And now it should slide through with a little help. And you can push the control arm back because that's slotted. We still need it to come out a little further. Hit on this a little more. Just using a little punch. Trying to anyway. Glad this side's giving me a little trouble so you can see it. The other side was nice and buttery. I'm gonna pull forward on the strut just a little more. Use a pry bar back here. Okay, so this side is really close, so I'm gonna bring it around to the other side. And maybe if we get the other side off, this side will pop off easier. It's just hanging up on something. Same thing, let me just turn this. Okay, and I'll use a punch. There we go, that came out all the way. Perfect. Maybe if I can wiggle the control arm, it'll want to come out. Angle you again. Back over here, I'm just going to feed the punch through. There we go. Perfect. Yeah, not too bad. A little hard. So now, these should come out. They should just pull right out. Ah, nice. All right, new control arm. I'm gonna put on our grease fitting first. That way I don't get any dust or anything fall into it. All right, now we'll feed it in. Might be a tight fit. That's okay, it will fit. There we go. And we can tap it. Let's get our through bolts. Put this one in first. There we go. All right, perfect. We'll put the nut on. I'll lubricate this a little and put the nut on just to hold it in place. Now we can do the other side. Tap on it a little. Oh, there we go. Got it. Feed it through a little more. Got it all the way. So it's just getting it around this spring was the issue. You know, when I took it off, I took this side off first, then this side came off a little easier. So I wonder if going on, I should have put this side on first, then this one second. Ooh, well, we got it. A little lubricant. Okay, now I can put this on. And turn this so it locks in. Okay, just like that. Put the nut back on. Then I'll pull this nut off. Put this little key on. And same thing, turn the bolt until it lines up. All right, that's it. Put the nut back on. We're just gonna snug it. We're gonna torque it later. Okay, just snug. In order to torque these, we want to load the suspension. So when everything's back together, we'll put a jack under the lower control arm, jack it up, and that'll load it as if the tire was on the ground. Then we'll torque these. So we're done here for now. Next, we'll put our strut back on. We'll just need a little pry bar and we'll fiddle with that. We'll just do the lower control arm, push this back. And we'll move this just a little. Line it back up with its holes. I'm gonna put one through the top. There's no good way to pry on it. I can just tap a little. There we go. So I got one through the top, then the other one I'll feed through the bottom just to get it started. Perfect. Suck it down some. And we'll pop this back out. And if this came off, no big deal. It just rests in there. And we'll come through the bottom. We'll snug these down. And we'll go ahead and torque 37 foot-pounds. Pull this off. Now, just like the lower, our cotter pin hole is in the wrong spot. So we're just gonna tighten this up. We're gonna move that around. Okay, right about there. And we'll feed this through. We'll just, with a pry bar, pry down here. There we go. Throw that castle nut on. Snug her down. All right. And we can tighten this and throw in the cotter pin. 37 foot-pounds, which isn't that much. You can get a crow's foot if you want an exact torque, or just aim for 37 in your mind. And then we'll throw that cotter pin on. There we go. While we're over here, we have our brake bracket. It can go on that little 10 mil. And we'll torque this to GNS, good and snug. Now we have our wheel speed sensor. Route that back around, plug it in. So now with the jack underneath, we're gonna jack up the lower control arm. Just enough so it comes off of our jack stand. Now we can go ahead and torque our upper control arm, 140 foot-pounds. When we are complete, we're gonna go ahead and put our tire on, then take it for a good spin. All right, that is it. Take it for a good test drive. Make sure you don't hear any clunks, new squeaks, or anything crazy, and you're good to go. Any comments, post down below. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. See you on the next one.